Bigger story that affects many more people in this country, dubbed as the diesel dupe. Volkswagen's rigging scandal has spilled into India. Make no mistake, with the government initiating a probe into possible violations by the German car maker, which happens to be the world's biggest automobile manufacturer. It's been taking cues from the United States, and the British government and other European countries too have launched inquiries into Volkswagen. And as the scandal explodes, the pressure is mounting on other auto companies as well, and of course Volkswagen's own top management here in India.
Volkswagen emission scandal is rapidly evolving into the worst ever crisis to hit the auto industry worldwide. Scalded by test rigging emission scandal, the woes continue to mount for the German car maker as it faces multiple probes across the globe. And now, joining the massive crackdown, India too ordering a probe.
The Ministry of Transport and Heavy Industries is now investigating and looking into the fact that whether the Indian automobiles, the cars of Volkswagen on the Indian roads, have reached any Indian norms.
As the automaker giant battle crisis, the scandal is battering its image.
Just because it's a multinational company doesn't mean that they are clear, or they have to come out of that thing clear. Otherwise, they have to pay the price for that.
Volkswagen is one of the very good cars in India. They have already exported 100,000 Volkswagen cars.
Denting the auto major's brand, the S&P threatening to downgrade Volkswagen's credit rating to negative. And the scandal, which erupted in the United States, is now even spreading across Europe, with the auto industry facing the backlash.
Es wurde uns da mitgeteilt, dass auch in Europa
there will be random tests on emissions made by other car makers. We don't know yet how many of the 11 million cars are affected in Europe. We'll find out in the coming days.
Wir werden deswegen auch weiterhin intensiv daran arbeiten.
As the German car giant admitted to rigging emission tests in the United States, more heads are likely to roll. And with Volkswagen facing unprecedented crisis, its dominance in the auto market is under threat. Bureau Report, India Today.
Quick word in from our in-house expert, Yogendra Pratap, editor of Auto Today magazine. Yogendra, thanks for joining us with your expert opinion on this issue. Obviously, it's the biggest story in the industry. I can imagine that you've been talking and thinking and writing about nothing else since the story actually came out. But the simple question everyone's asking really, Yogendra, is the kind of impact it's going to have on car owners in this country, both Volkswagen and otherwise, because I imagine that this will have a spillover effect into the auto industry in general, Yogendra.
See, worldwide, the auto industry is already facing the aftermath of what Volkswagen did in the US.
Yes.
But in India, the emission norms are so far behind what they are in the US and the EU that I don't think there could have been any chances of Volkswagen doing anything silly in India. The Indian emission norms are like 3 generations behind those in the US, and especially those in California. And we are still way behind the European emission norms. And the one big reason for that, especially for diesel cars, is the quality of diesel fuel available in India. So, whatever technology the car companies can put in, it's all negated because of the diesel quality in India. So, I don't think the spillover will be too much in India. Of course, the Volkswagen brand name is suffering worldwide. What
are you making of an Indian agency, or the sense that there might be an investigation of some kind in India as well? Is that ridiculous given where our emission norms stand, or is that something that should be done? Where do you stand on that?
No, the government should probe, and the government should also look at our testing norms for emissions. I mean, Britain and the EU is not just probing Volkswagen.
Yeah.
They are looking at the holistic view. They're taking a holistic view of the emission testing procedures in place, because the effort from car companies in Europe has been to do things to beat the system, and emission testing procedures need to come up to date and need to be real world. I mean, in India also, the fuel efficiency figures, that are certified by the government and the emissions are all under test conditions. I don't think that's a fair thing to do. I mean, under test conditions, vehicles are claiming or companies are claiming their vehicles to have fuel efficiencies which in the real world you can't come close to. So I think worldwide emission testing procedures need to be looked at. They need to be made tighter and foolproof, so that the companies are not making efforts to try and beat the system, but are making cars that are clean.
Absolutely. Yogendra Pratap, thanks so much for putting that into perspective. We hear a lot of extreme things these days. It's good to put out some facts, moderate and sober here on India Today, and that's what we're going to continue to do. Thank you so much, editor of Auto Today, Yogendra Pratap, here on India Today.